Good evening, everyone, and welcome to night number 270. And yes, all is well with the world. We're back in the studio, safe and sound, and everything is lovely. It is extremely cold outside, and I have heat, so no problem, but it does make me think about our wonderful brothers and sisters there in Ukraine. For those of you that are here in PA or northern part of the U.S., she's pretty chilly outside. Buffalo got over 6 feet of snow. I can only imagine what it would be like without heat. Really good news. We've got Zhenya in with us tonight. We have a good night. He has electricity, he has lights, and he's got internet. So we're good on that, and he will be joining me in just a moment. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the community, and thank you for sharing. Lots of gear has been coming in today. We've got more shipments coming in from Canada tomorrow. I received an email on that today. I need to respond to you, Myron. Other shipments are coming in from down south, getting ready for our big shipment to Poland, into Ukraine, and you'll be with us. So thank you. Thanks to the mods. Thank you for being here. And without further ado, let's jump to it tonight. We've got a great update for you. And good evening.
Good evening.
Actually, it would be good morning. So good morning would be better. Nice to see you.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, nice light on the flag. We've got our matching black shirts on, and I've got a Ukrainian cookie, an American flag, and you've got an Ukrainian flag. So we're good to go. Going to be an interesting update, and thank you for helping out so much while I was taking a break. I was still there every day, but chasing a few deer down south. I feel refreshed and good. I can tell you tomorrow I'm heading to the eye doctor, get that thing squared away before heading back to Ukraine. So we'll see. We'll see how tomorrow unfolds. With that said, how was your day today, and how are you doing?
Great day. A lot of work. The church service. Great time.
Good.
Worshiping God. And discussing the next run with our military guys nonstop every day. And we were finishing preparing. I mean, it's already sent, it seems to me, 6 personal first aid kits for military guys.
Good. Well, let's jump to it. Really interesting here. We have been following the missile strikes in Poland for days now. The world wants to jump on, even Western media. I don't care what they say, because a majority of this junk is liars, as we're going to show the world here in a little bit. But look what's coming out from the Prime Minister of Poland. Here it is in Russian. No, Ukrainian. Can you translate that for us?
Yeah, Prime Minister of Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki, the materials of investigation of explosion of the missile does not helping us. I mean, to form a statement where it was launched from, what side. And by the way, not just that, they found that they have a video recorded, and it's still they have no clue.
Well, the world jumped on it and said, well, it doesn't matter. And it really doesn't. It's ultimately Russia's initiation. But we're going to stand by the Ukrainian military. We're going to stand by President Zelensky. And until they say it was a Ukrainian accident, I'm not going to believe it. Never will believe it. And now we have Poland backing up the Prime Minister saying, we have no idea where that came from. Hello. Thank you very much for being in this community and standing with us. We tell you guys the truth in here. Last time I checked, that cat right there is in Ukraine. We know what's going on. So, hey, that makes me feel good. Honestly.
I mean, okay. That's okay. I will say that's okay. Probably it's maybe it's better for Ukraine. We know the truth. And I would say the most important that the people are staying against a real aggressor. That's important.
That is what's most important. But Also, what's important is, instantly everybody wants to they've started throwing the blame on Ukraine. And only Zelensky and the military forces were saying, wait a second, let's get our guys in there. Stop telling us that we did it. If we did it by accident, we'll take responsibility. But we don't have any proof yet that we did it. Now there's no video. Now they do not know where it came from officially from the Prime Minister of Poland. So I'm sure it will continue to unfold. Let's go here. Kherson has been liberated. There's two reasons I have that city in a circle tonight. Just over the last couple of hours, there have been reported explosions in Kherson. That could be a wide array. It could be the mines. It could be accidents going off where they left booby traps, or Russia could be striking it 100%. 100% Ukraine would not be striking Kherson. That's a fact. Secondly, in Kherson, Ukrainian government came out and said, we're going to start evacuating people because there's zero infrastructure. Zero. We're going to evacuate the grandmas and the grandpas first. We're going to evacuate, families with special needs and special situations, and then we'll move other people out. So that's what's happening in Kherson right now, which is important.
Yeah. By the way, concerning Kherson and the attack on Kherson, the strikes on it, we were talking with the people on the occupied territories, and they said, we're a little bit in fear. I said, why? I did ask why. They said, because when the Russians were leaving our place, they said, we promise if we will not be in here, we will smash it. We will just destroy it, demolish it. And the same will be with all the places. And this is the words from the places on our last run. We were helping people. They said, it's not finished because they promised us that no, not Kherson, not Snegirovka, not the other places. We will not have a normal life.
Well, that's why we're paying attention to reports of explosions. I mean, today I received some videos and footage out. They have even booby-trapped offices, printers, copy machines, heater, you name it. Everything is booby-trapped. That's why they left the way they did. They just wanted to have terror and, who knows, strike it. But we can tell you there are explosions tonight. Now, it seems tonight the update's going to be about what everybody else is saying, because maybe that's what I should have titled the program, other than Kuleba saying world stop listening to the Russian madness, because the EU, nations in Europe, play Russian propaganda still on their television programs. It's not only in Russia. But we've already heard from the Polish Prime Minister, and now we're going to hear from Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Statement on situation in Ukraine, dated November the 20th, today. What did he report? 12 shell strikes on, not Energodar, but the physical power plant that you're looking at in the picture. And he says, we could have had a nuclear disaster today. We could have had another Chernobyl or Fukushima today. Fukushima, yeah. Or it could be tomorrow. They're shelling the power plant. That's not from Ukraine. That's not from an observer. That's from the Director General of the Atomic Energy Agency. What's your thoughts on that? It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Okay. Coming to Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, it's not just a threat of catastrophe, let's say, possible catastrophe, because of the nuclear explosion on the nuclear power plant. They were attacking the blocks number 5 and 6. And why exactly on these blocks, especially because, to make it short, the supplying of Ukraine from that area, it depends on these 2 blocks especially.
So
and uh-huh,
I think if we
they
go
were
here,
cutting. Yes.
so you can see the 6 blocks, but
Mm-hmm.
those buildings are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they're massive structures. They look,
Mm-hmm.
small here in this picture. They're not small. But you're saying 5 and 6 specifically are sending power to
Yes.
Ukraine. Okay. So there you have it.
Yes. We now it was on a there were a work to restore it and for the supply restore the supplying electricity to Ukraine in that area and at all. So the especially two of these blocks were struck, and I mean it's easy to understand why there is too many to continue destroying Ukrainians as a nation and to continue rising up the risk of let's say like a crazy catastrophe in this area because of
Well, the major
the
thrust
threat.
of the update tonight is we're going to do an analysis on the madness that has unfolded over the last 24 hours on Russian state media. And this is not us just grabbing some sound clips. This is Dmitry Kuleba saying, this has to stop. This is madness. And we'll get to that. But that's exactly what they're talking about and exactly what you're talking about. This is an assault to literally freeze, starve, and commit acts of genocide. Now, day 270 of
Mm-hmm.
part of President Zelensky's address tonight was he said, here we are, day 270, and 4,700 missiles have been fired at Ukraine in 270 days. It's crazy. I mean, it's what,
That's
17 or
crazy.
18 a day? 4,700 divided by 270. All right. I'm going to make a statement to you because I know you've been reading it also. The world keeps saying, and you and I say the opposite, that, oh, Russia's running out of missiles. They're done. Their supply is low. And Zelensky even himself today said, stop believing the lies. They've been preparing for this for decades. They also have arms supplier in other nations. They're not running out of missiles. They will continue to manufacture, to
Absolutely.
buy, and they have large stockpiles that most likely the world doesn't know about. That's why. I mean, they can continue to do this, is what I'm saying.
They can and they will, and yes, the reality that they cannot stop. I mean, they need help to stop.
Yeah,
To be
they need to
honest, as
be
a nation,
stopped. That's what you're saying.
they need to be stopped, and I said they need some help in that. It
Well,
means, okay, I will explain you why I
okay.
use that because the help like this, because they can't do it internally. It would be great, but as a nation, they cannot fix it inside
They
because of
are.
the mindset. I would say slavery,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why. So the group of people, which is a terrorist, are ruling all the rest. I mean, and with the support of these people, but in reality, this machine cannot be stopped by negotiations or requests or diplomacy. It I mean they need much more strong tools and
Well,
decisions.
this is clear, and we're going to validate that with some of the brainwash madness here in a few moments. But, a lot of news came out over the last 24 hours or so that Zelensky made a little message about having a short truce due to the winter, and Ukraine has absolutely said that's a lie. We've asked for no short truce. There's no slowdown. In fact, the Defense Department of Ukraine said it this way: those who are now talking about a possible pause in hostilities due to freezing temperatures in the winter have likely never sunbathed in January on the southern coast of Crimea. Now, this goes back to probably 3 months ago, where Zelensky told Ukrainians, be Ukrainian. And then the Defense Department, pretty much every day, as a part of their updates, puts out a humorous tweet or a humorous statement. Now, this is meant to be a serious statement, but it's humorous, saying, we're not worried about the freezing. It's warm on the southern coast of Crimea, and we'll be there about January. So, bottom line, Ukraine's not quitting, and they're going to do what they said, and that is fight.
Yeah, we cannot stop because we cannot stay and wait and look how our people are dying, and we cannot allow the aggressors to be and to do something on our land. We have no options. We will fight. And yes, and Russians cannot stop because of their ideology and their leaders and their, I mean, yes.
Yeah, their control. We're going to get it. Yes. I'm going to play the clips in a minute, and you're going to respond. So it did not just stop with the Defense Department of Ukraine. Then we had a tweet from Mikhail Podolyak out of the president's office. And RUIQ means Russian IQ, a simple test, how to sit down at the negotiation table, 3 steps. Number 1, stop firing missiles at a sovereign country, meaning Ukraine. Number 2, remove troops from the territory of a sovereign country, meaning get out of our country. 1991 borders, not Donetsk, not Lugansk, not Crimea, completely out. And number 3, return to international law where borders of countries are prescribed. Is it hard or is it difficult? Ukraine, very clear over the last 24 hours, do not listen to the lies. We're not stopping. We're going to fight for our nation.
Yes, but you know, they are doing. I mean, they're doing a failure all the time on the same question. I mean, same, I would say, subjects like to recognize the international law. They need to deny the philosophy that we don't care about international, opinions. We are the law. To recognize the borders, they need to deny own positions of the Russia has no borders. The borders is, we have no limits. We can do whatever, and so on. So it's like for them, it means to stop imperialistic, I would say, thoughts and dreams.
This brings us right back to the statement you made 10 minutes ago. They need to be helped in being stopped.
Yes.
Okay, for those of you not understanding what he's saying, they have to be defeated militarily. That's it.
Yes.
Period. So
not just
they need to be helped.
Economically, with all possible sanctions, with breaking all possible diplomatic connections and relationships, from the science world, from the sport world, from the politic world, from the all possible areas, they need to be, defeated and disconnected.
Could I say it this way? They need to be defeated militarily, and then the entire nation needs to be isolated. That's the word you're looking for. Isolated.
Okay. Yes.
And then, now, that doesn't mean eternally isolated. That means you're defeated. You change your regime. You become human again. You respect borders. You start coming into alignment. And that's with the regime change. The regime's not in Kyiv, folks. The regime is in Moscow. The regime is in the Kremlin. The dictator and the terrorist and the one that is raining down evil and terror is in Moscow. That has to be gone.
I want to stop a minute, just
go ahead.
A couple seconds. Then for those who are still asking maybe why you are calling Ukraine are not regime, but the Russians having a regime, maybe you just a propaganda people and so on. Check the facts. Which country between Russia and Ukraine are having changes in the presidents? Where presidents are changing. The other names, even other political parties. The facts from Russia take 20 years or 30 years. Russia has eternal president name, and they moving all the time. This these times. Okay, one more time, maybe change period. Okay, some reforms. Now he can continue doing. And Ukraine has Zelensky. Okay, you remember Poroshenko? What was before Poroshenko? Was pro-Russian guy.
Yanukovych.
Okay, Yanukovych. What before Yanukovych? Yushchenko, you remember?
Yushchenko, the Orange Revolution. I was there.
Yes. It means, and you can continue, but we have changed. We have elections. Yes, we have elections. Our presidents are different. Our parties, they're changing. And now they say, okay, this is a regime.
Well, not only that, and we're going to hear about that in a second, just in case the world is wondering. Okay, so the president prior to Zelensky, his name was Peter Poroshenko. The biggest, largest chocolate company in Ukraine is called Roshen. It's a part of his last name. It's his company. He is nicknamed the Chocolate King. So that president basically ran a chocolate company. The president now is an actor by trade who came into politics, kind of like a Ronald Reagan. In Russia, you've had Putin.
KGB.
Hold on. Medvedev. Hold on. I need to go to the dachi and take a break. Medvedev, you go be president for 4 years. I'll be the prime minister. We'll just trade. And then what? Here comes Putin again. Hey, we're nailing it, buddy.
It's because Russian people are loving them. That's it.
Yes, they do. So that takes us to the main thrust of the program tonight. This is Dmitry Kuleba. This is the foreign minister of Ukraine. This is not a TV host. This is not some journalist. This is the foreign minister of Ukraine. He writes today, incitement of genocide on Russian state TV is in full swing. They admit Russia bombs out Ukraine's critical infrastructure to inflict unbearable conditions of life on civilians, and they call for more strikes. Russian state propaganda in the EU and elsewhere must be fully banned. If you notice here, he's not stating, he's not saying, okay, Russia, if you want to watch this trash, just watch it. It's your country. He's respecting them.
Mm-hmm.
But these programs, in case you guys do not know, all this propaganda mess is broadcast all throughout the European Union. Russian state TV is not only in Russia. They're still out and about. No, if you're an American, you never see this stuff. A, it's not translated, and B, you can't understand it. But in Europe, it's broadcast everywhere, and Kuleba said it has to stop. Now, we're going to play a game.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for a game tonight?
Yeah.
What is he referring to? He's referring to the last 24 to 36 hours. These guys have went completely bonkers, celebrating the genocide, the freezing out, the destruction of infrastructure, and calling for it not to stop, calling Zelensky the regime, and everything we're doing is right. So I have the clip. the clips translated into English. And let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 clips. I'm going to play a clip, and then we'll get your response. Okay, so here we go, guys. This is going to be fun. Not fun, but yeah, you get to see what they're really saying. Here we go. Clip number 1.
Мы наносим удары по Украине. Посмотрите, впечатляет. Видите, что происходит, да? То есть вся территория Украины под ударом. При этом мы бьем. А что новенького? Мы бьем не только по всяким подстанциям, там, ТЭЦ там, и так далее, и так далее. Мы начали бить еще и по газовой инфраструктуре, насколько я понимаю. Это уже очевидно, что это линия. Это линия, там понятно, к чему она может привести Украину.
So, look at the great map of our destruction. What's your thoughts as a Ukrainian when you see that happening up in Moscow above you?
Okay, they call it's impressive.
Yes.
Like they're proud of it. There is excitement. He calls we conducting strikes against of Ukraine. He said it with, being proud. We are doing that. There is nothing we hide. This is we are. This is our nation. The second, he says it's all territory on the strikes. They're happy. Now it's open. It's nothing about Donetsk, nothing about referendums, nothing about Lugansk, nothing about Crimea, nothing about protecting Russian talking people. He openly says we are all territory of Ukraine are the strikes.
You know what's coming next is what he was saying there. You know what's coming next, Ukraine. And like you said, the word is what he said. It was, look how impressive this is. Impressive is when you're watching if you're a sports fan and a football player does a great day, you go, man, that was impressive. And you're supposed to marvel at it and go, wow, that was incredible. These guys are saying we're putting a nation into cold, into hunger, into genocide. Man, isn't it impressive what we're doing? It's nuts. All right, clip 2. Here you go. Clip 2.
Okay.
Возмездие, именно удары возмездия, именно вот такое проявление нашей ненависти, абсолютно святой ненависти. Они будут сидеть и без газа, и без света, и без всего. Потому что если киевский режим выбрал для себя путь военных преступников, они должны там и замерзнуть, и сгнить. В этом формате.
Обычные люди должны сгнить и мерзнуть?
Обычные люди должны выйти на улицы и наконец-то закончить это правление нацистского режима Зеленского.
Before you respond, first of all, that guy's probably 30 years old. So this is not always about the 60 and 70 and 80-year-olds that are glorious back in the days of the Soviet Union. That was obviously, sorry, brother, but he had some education. He was articulate. He was on television. He's probably about 30 years old. He was a good speaker. He was dynamic. And basically, Kiev's the regime. Zelensky's the master Nazi. And let them rot. This is our holy hatred.
Yeah. I don't know what to add. He calls it retaliatory. Yes. He says it's like we're paying back. This is like now we punishing them.
Retaliatory.
He says yes.
Retaliatory, you were right the first time in the English. It means we're paying you back for something that you did to us first. So I have a question for you. What did you do to them? What did you do? What did Ukraine do?
Oh, we didn't want to be in the union of Putin.
And that's the answer.
Yes.
That's it.
We didn't want to be with Belarus, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan. We said no to USSR. Never more. That's it.
That
then
is
he said openly, expression of our hatred. It's a holy war. Against the what? Against the what?
I know.
Let's check. The Putin's speech on we start our military special operation against a what? Now he says it's a holy war, and he says the Kiev regime choose a path of war criminals.
I know.
Kiev's regime choosing the path of war criminals. How? We touched no one. We wanted to be with the NATO. Why? Because we already proved we gave out to Russia our nuclear weapon. And what he calls, we're choosing a path of war criminals, giving our nuclear weapon.
Let's see.
Understand?
Ukraine sitting in the middle, and that big, very resourceful, wealthy nation, bright people. Let's see. We have two choices. We can go with those guys in Moscow with that madness, or let's join the civilized West with the European Union and have relationships with nations and be a part of making our world better. That's it. That's the retaliation. All right, here you go. Clip number 3.
Такое же состояние мы наблюдали, когда в концлагере идут туда в газовые печи, ни восстания нет никакого. Казалось бы, все, надо восстание, подавлены по большому счету.
Но это синдром жертвы. Бунты где тогда, Владимир Николаевич? Не видим бунтов. Более того, говорят, что рейтинги этого товарища в маечке, если верить, по крайней мере, киевским опросам,
во время военного
высокие.
конфликта не верьте никакой социологии. Я вас умоляю. Мы должны говорить, кто виновник этого, а не так все списывать на Россию. Россия вынуждена сегодня принимать меры, потому что вот эту недельку что-то происходит, что нет, говорит об одном. Какие-то попытки переговоров. Видите, Запад уже начал помягче.
То есть вы склоняетесь к тому, что наши удары это все-таки принуждение к миру, да?
Да, к переговорам.
Ага.
А вот результат переговоров может быть разным.
А почему не ударили по Херсону, когда туда приезжал Зеленский и там бродил?
Знаете, есть общее правило, я, вероятно, думаю, надо адресовать высоким, так сказать, руководителям, где президент, это надо адресовать.
Не, но такие удары просто в тот самый момент, может быть, они дали бы тот эффект, про который вы говорите. Мы же понимаем, что
такое решение не принимает сержант, да?
Ага.
А мы ведем разговор о том, что если бы такое решение было оформлено, что террористами надо не государство объявлять, а организации людей.
That guy down there running around in the T-shirt, of course, that's referring to President Zelensky. And, where are the revolts in the people? Why aren't they revolting?
Yeah.
And
because they don't have revolts. They want to see revolts. And this is an inside dream because, all the revolts in Russia, it's just a name.
Oh, by the way, the West is softening. They're softening. And, we strike for 1 week and then we take a week off because we really care about them. And hopefully during that week, we'll negotiate. And they said clearly, so we're going to negotiate. We're going to use strikes and destroying Ukraine to force negotiations. It's their strategy. It's not going to work.
Okay. Good question he asks. He says, who is at fault for all of this? Who? No, nobody knows. The world doesn't know. And if 100% of people doesn't know, there's one reason, the only one reason for that. It's a propaganda power in all of these nations. It's propaganda money in all of these nations. This is the only reason why people can, be separately divided. Because Russia attacked Ukraine. War is on Ukrainian territory. Yes, publicly, the Russian media says we are bombing them. Let's kill all of them. And this is, and now the question, how it's possible, but it needs to be with that kind of watching this and thinking, we don't know who is right. Okay, it's the same that watching Hitler and says, hey, He was hugging a boy. Probably he's a good man.
Exactly. Let me help people out right now.
Yes.
We have people watch from all over the world, many different nations. So, and I'm an American, Zhenya's a Ukrainian, but there's many people in here that support this stream and this effort from multiple nations, and we thank you. So right there where you're sitting right now, think about your news source of choice in your country. Okay. In America, you know, you've got Fox, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, Newsmax, all these organizations. Just whichever one you like, that's your prerogative. Now, in foreign countries, think about your news agencies. You guys there in Germany, DW, Australia, Sky News, okay, whatever. Now, imagine you turned on your 8 o'clock news and you're looking to the commentators and government representatives. Some of those guys that you're watching tonight are government representatives. They're not all just journalists. And your guys in your country started spewing, oh, look at our map, how much we've destroyed this nation. We're going to keep bombing them. We're going to destroy them. Hey, when their president was walking around in Kherson, why didn't we take him out? Could you imagine, wherever you're at tonight, your local news having a show or a program like that? That is why Kaleba said, this madness has to stop. Zhenya, I want to tell you one more thing. I was just traveling down in Virginia for a couple of weeks and going to restaurants, you know, at lunchtime between hunting trips and all this stuff and visiting friends, whatever. Took a break. Brother, many people came up to me because they know what we're doing. They know who I am. And they said, okay, tell me the truth. Forget all the other stuff. Is Zelensky a good guy or a bad guy? I haven't decided yet. And brother, these are good people. Good people. I'm telling you, kind, they're givers, but it's the power of the media. And they came to me and said, I just see a lot of bad things about him. Is he a bad guy or is he a good guy? Whatever you say, I'll trust you. There's millions of people out there that know nothing about the truth, and this is what they see.
It's like, okay, the politic of Putin against of politic of Zelensky. Politic of Zelensky is to fight for the sovereignty of the country, which was internationally confirmed, and the borders, what internationally agreed, we have it, 1991. Putin doesn't like it. Russians, the nation, doesn't like it. So nobody asked, if all the people around, like the United States, Japan, would start to arguing about the territories of Russia, nobody touching it, because all the respects international law and agreements. And so the question is, politics of Putin. He says, we really want to peace with this country. This is why we're killing their people. We're destroying their infrastructure. And it's nothing about the front line. It's about the people's life. We want for your parents and kids would experience a hell. This is how we love you. And this is how we want for you to talk to us. Because otherwise, it's like there is a criminal and a victim. And the criminal, he takes a gun and he says, okay, tell me you love me. Otherwise, I will shoot you. This is how, it's publicly. Please
look at the next clip.
To their media.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Have you ever heard of a guy named Osama bin Laden?
Yeah.
Зеленский попадает по все признаки террориста. Его, помните, сравнение с Аль-Каидой, Бен Ладеном, точно такая судьба.
I'm sorry, everybody, but, we hear it in the Russian with his inflection, and you're reading the translation. This guy believes what he's saying. You remember Al-Qaeda and bin Laden? Zelensky's a terrorist just like them, and his fate will be the same. Clip 5.
Вот народ должен подняться, народу страшно, понимаете? Кто пойдет? Действительно, где эти политики, которые считались пророссийскими? Вы знаете их фамилии, да? Так сказать, не всех же там, они где-то забились, да? Хорошо, может быть, не всех посадили, пусть найдут гражданское мужество какое-то, да? Так сказать, пусть выйдут на улицу. Кто, бабушки эти пойдут под эти автоматы? Это все разговоры ни о чем, что вот сейчас народ поднимется, сметет эту клику, понимаете?
The question is, where is this people pro-Russian? You know all of these names.
Where are they at? They're hiding. They need to go out on the streets of Ukraine and tell the truth.
We
and
spend so
stare down the AKs,
so
the grannies. Folks, this is exactly the clips that Dmitry Kuleba, the foreign minister, said this must stop. Because when people see this, they believe this mess.
It could be fun if not the millions of people in Russia and millions of people out Russia would not watch it and would not believe it. Then it would be a fun, but the reality is not. In all of the countries, we have people who believe, even in Ukraine. There's still some of that. He says, where is this pro-Russian? Why is pro-Russian? Why he is not using, where are these people who respect international laws?
Mm-hmm.
No, he knows, he requests for people who pro-Russian.
Clip 6.
Что они хотят нам предложить? Они хотят, судя по Милли, заморозку. В какой ситуации заморозка?
Это верно.
Что получается? Мы не освободили всю Донецкую область.
Да.
Мы контролируем только половину Запорожской и половину Херсонской. После этого начать вопль. О, Россия слабая и униженная. Она даже не может освободить 3 области. Ха-ха-ха.
Да.
То есть это такой мерзкий троллинг, издевка над нами.
На самом деле ставка у них простая. Ставка элементарная, на самом деле. Они хотят взорвать ситуацию здесь внутри.
Да.
И они считают, что время работает на них. Вот эти вот там наши все отводы наших войск, там еще что, медленное продвижение, о чем говорил Сергей. Это все должно, собственно, им помочь для того, чтобы они победили в психологической войне.
So, first of all, they recognize we can't even get an oblast. That's a fact. And due to that, they think that we're just backing up and you know, they can destroy us from within in the psychological war. But the point being is this. A, they do recognize they can't win the ground war. But this, with them saying their attack is to destroy us from within, that is them reasoning in their minds, in their madness, why we have to destroy infrastructure, power, food, turn the lights off, freeze this nation, because they can't do anything normal in the regions. That guy is bonkers.
He says, what do they want from us? And he says, they want to freeze. I mean, who wants to freeze? Come on. They openly telling right before, we want for that all of them, I mean, to freeze. And now they say they want to freeze. Then the second say, okay, they want to freeze what? The situation on the battlefield? No. Check official Minister of Defense, our presidents, all official statements. Everywhere we're saying, no, we don't want to freeze. We don't need negotiation. We want to get back our land. That's it. Doesn't matter what season are. And who is a request for negotiations? And then he says, this man says, Ukrainian really wants to freeze all of that situation. No.
Here's my concern. I really believe they're banking on Ukraine quitting. I really think that's a part of their strategy. And they're trying to manipulate that negotiation by having the West push on Zelensky to say, listen, stop it. But it's not going to happen. Ukraine is not going to give up their ground. And I think what Russia is hoping for is that they do, because they have been defeated on the battlefield, period. Not in the air, but on the battlefield, they've been defeated. And they have been humiliated. And they have been laughed at because they're not the second army in the world, period. They just use terror, and they have an unending supply of missiles. That's it. It's terrorism. So let me play you one final clip, and we'll roll out of here tonight. This has been a great update tonight. Here we go.
Когда инфраструктурные объекты каждый день получают в тыкву, когда гражданское население минимализируется в прямых потерях, но у них невыносимые условия для жизни зимой, и это, конечно же, скорая помощь не ездит, старики умирают, дети. Европа готова принять, создает спортивные залы с обогревом. Но на самом деле, посмотрите, для Зеленского это будет аргумент. Он позвонит Шольцу и скажет: Шольц, а помнишь, ты говорил о том, что ты не признаешь переговоры Украины с Россией? А смотри, у меня население бежит, мы зимовать не можем. А давай к нам, давай вместе поговорим о том, на каких условиях мы готовы подписать капитуляцию де-факто. Слово «капитуляция» должна звучать, его стесняться не надо. На основании именно невыносимых условий для гражданского населения.
Rejoicing in unbearable conditions, the eliminating of old people and children, and this is their plan to force the negotiation. Very simple. He says it clear right there.
I think just this a minute of this, or a couple seconds of this, just to this one statement, if we will, put aside everything we heard before, just this statement, the ambulances we are making, Russians are making, ambulances are not working. And old people and children are dying. And he says, this is what we are doing. And he naming nothing about military. He says, ambulances are not working, old people dying, children dying because our strikes, Russian strikes, he says. And he says, it's normal. And then he turns, okay, here's the Europe, forget about all this. Just this statement is enough to understand who are they and what kind of nation they have. It's normal for them to destroy, making ambulances not working, old people and kids dying, and he's nothing back. He says it's nothing back. It's impressive, he says. They do statement. It's impressive, meaning the good side. We're happy. We're doing it. That's
and he said at the beginning, it was translated, hit him on the pumpkin, meaning hit him right in the head. But here's the deal.
The face.
Yeah, hit him in the face. Your analysis right there is spot on. And what they're hoping for is a capitulation to force the negotiations and a complete change in this war. But if the world will just listen, if there's any humanity out there at all, when a nation will say, look, your ambulances aren't working, your old people and children are dying, you cannot negotiate with that nation. Period. That mentality has and must be defeated. Isolated is the word we said earlier. So, all right, my man, that was fun. It's not fun, but it was interesting. Better word choice there. Interesting. Give a little analysis on that. And these are the exact statements that Kuleba was referring to. Tell the world that this must stop. So, all right, we'll get you some rest. Yeah.
One thought. This is reality. Everybody can check these facts. This is these statements, this video, this is the Russian TV. And if you want to check if it's mistake on Russian TV, then probably, I mean, during the hour or day, it will be the hundreds of apologizes. This was the wrong people, but you will not see it. And this effect will prove you one more time that this is not just mistake. It's official politic of Russia. You may check it.
Let me ask you one question before we tell everybody good night. I think I speak pretty good Russian for being an American. Okay? I can get along just fine. But for you, is your Russian abilities basically high level to perfect?
To be honest,
it's a yes or no question.
11, yes.
Okay.
It means 11 classes of school, I didn't have Ukrainian language. The lessons, everything was in Russian.
Your native language is Russian. Sorry, but it was. You learned in Russian first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as we close out tonight, we showed a lot of video clips. Did we have any mistakes in the translation?
No.
No.
It was good.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. What you read on the translation was accurate. So, all right, buddy. Until tomorrow. Get some rest. Love the light on the flag back there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to be back in the studio, too. It really helps us do these updates. So thank you, my man. All righty.
It's life, yeah.
Get you some rest. And once again, thank you to everybody for being here. Thank you for being in the community. Probably about 10 more days to hit the Amazon list, which is found in the description. Our financial gifts had a huge chunk coming today, bud, of stuff. I know we've got stuff coming tomorrow and Tuesday. It's going to be a really good shipment we're sending over, and it's all because of this great community. So thank you. This is a safe place to donate, a safe place to give, because you know we get it there. Not only that, we're going to put it right in their hands. And as long as we have some internet, you're going to be a part of it on the journey. So much thanks to you. We love you guys.
Good night.
Don't you have a heart or something from Ukraine?
All the time.
All the time. A good night to all.
To all a good night.